Hey guys, this is Reggie. I wanted to talk about Martin Luther King and his legacy. And I think if Martin Luther King was here today, he would not be happy with the way the world is or the way this country um, is portrayed today. Even though we're in a time of, I would say, mostly racial equity and equality across the board, um, there's still seemingly people or corporations or people who are in charge who want to push this racial inequality message, this race baiting message across the media. And I think if Martin Luther King was alive today and he would see the animosity and the race baiting and the hatred against, I hate to say, I don't hate to say it, but the racism against white people, I think he would be disgusted because I think Martin Luther King's dream was to see everybody, every race treated equally. And it seems as if the scales are tipping and the racism isn't so much so against black people, but it's against white people. And that's not the dream that he was talking about. The dream that he said in that speech was for every race to be together, black and white. And we're seeing that mostly. We really are. But the way the news portrayed it makes it seem as if we're divided racially, when really we're not. They make it seem that we're divided gender by gender, when really the genders have never been more equal in the history of mankind. So I think Martin Luther King, in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways would be disappointed with what he sees today. Um, I think I think we could do better. I'm not even gonna say we could do better because it's not we. Like when I go out in my neighbors, and I live in an all white neighborhood. I always grew up in an all white neighborhood. I live in Georgia, and most of my the people I was around, a lot of the friends I was around were Caucasian, and to be honest, I never really experienced racism. Not really. I've experienced it. I could count in one hand how many times I've experienced it, and like real racism, not like a friend saying something as a joke that may seem racial. Uh, I've definitely experienced that, but it's not because they're racist. Because I know they're not racist because they're my friends. I've slept over their house. Their parents treat me better half the time than their own kids, and these are some of my best friends I grew up with, and I definitely would pick on some of their racial features too, but it was never like a racist thing. But actual real racism, when some random person came up to me and called me like a nigger or say something about my skin color that made it seem like I was inferior, I could count in one hand how many times that happened. And I've been in interracial relationships more than I have. I've dated more white girls than I have people within my own race. I've dated girls of other races, not just white, more than I have of girls in my own race. And and this is coming from a person that's experienced life in a mostly Caucasian area and in supposedly one of the most racist states in the country. And I am a dark skinned black man. I'm a dark skinned black man. And I ended up marrying a dark skinned black girl. And both of us had the same experience. We both grew up here. We both never really experienced racism. We've always been treated like gold by everybody, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. There's always been plenty of love to go around. Never had any kind of real discrimination. Always had favor of my bosses. So, but the news media makes it seem like it's dangerous to even walk outside if you're black, and that's not true. I think they're what the media is doing is dividing more people, dividing more than anything else, and it's just I think Martin Luther King would be disgusted at that. So that's just how I feel. Because my friend asked me, what do you think Martin Luther King? How do you think Martin Luther King would feel if he was alive today? And I don't think he would be too happy with what he saw. Well, I can't say that because I mean he would be happy that there's been such a drastic change, but he would see that there's still that the roles have been reversed. It's weird. It's like racism against white people, and it's so weird. I think Martin Luther King would be like, "Man, you guys are going too far with it." Like, okay, we made it to the top. We're equal now. We don't need to like put down the white man. That's ridiculous. So, I mean, that's how I feel. But yeah, that's my 2 cents into just everything. And happy Martin Luther King Day. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm tired, but I wanted to just talk about race relations on the day of Martin Luther King's birthday. So, yep, that's all I have to say. You guys, good night, and I'll talk to you later.